Hello all, welcome to another quick learning. Today I just wanted to go over some quick examples to show you how these joins, inner joins, left joins work when you're working with actual databases. So I have a fake database here that has DVD rental information. So you see I have a number of tables. I have the film, I have the actor, I have the category, the language of the film, inventory, etc. And I want to join some of those tables to get information consolidated. So first thing I'm looking at here is the film table. So in the film table I have this film ID, which is a unique identifier for each film. And you can see there's the title, description, bunch of information. You'll see another ID field, language ID. So whenever you see ID, you think that's probably a field that you're going to join to another table to get additional information. And then there's some more information over to the right that's specific to each film. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is figure out what language these films are in. And I can't really tell that by just looking at the language ID. So I'm going to need to do a join. So let's go ahead and look at what the language table looks like. So if I go ahead and execute that, you can see it's very simple. There's a language ID, which is the same as what you saw on the film table. And then you've got the name of the language and when it was last updated. So you can see most of those were 1, and that makes sense because they're English films mostly at this DVD rental store. And let's go ahead and show you how to join those. So I did that here. So you can see I just selected the title and the name from the language table, which I changed to call it film language. So I go in the from, I just do the same thing, public.film. So this is just the schema. This part is just the schema, and this is the table name. And then I'm going to do an inner join to the language table. And what I'm going to join is the language ID from the film table and the language ID from the language table, which I've given an alias of LAN, just to shorten it up. So if I go ahead and run this, you'll see what I get below is each title with the language on it. And I can do an inner join because the language IDs from the film table are all going to match an entry in the language table. So it's not going to get rid of any values where there's not a match. And now let's go back to my list of tables here. Now I want to bring in inventory. So I want to see which titles do I have at the stores that people have available to rent. So if I go ahead and look at this table, go ahead and execute that, you'll see that this table has an inventory ID. So that's a unique ID for each physical DVD copy that is in a store. And then the film ID is the different titles that you might have. So you can see a lot of these you have 8 copies of this first film. And you can also see the store ID. So it looks like we have 4 copies per store, as we have 2 stores. And then we just have an update date when the database was updated. So if I go ahead and do a join on that, this is what this would look like. So again, I did the inner join on the language table, and then I added this left join from the inventory table, and I gave it an alias of INV. And I want to do it on the film ID and to the inventory table on film ID as well. So this is what's going to be called a one-to-many, because there's one entry in the film for each film, but there's many entries in the inventory ID for each one of those. As you can see, there was multiple copies of that film ID with 1. So this you can see, and I ordered it just by store ID to show you what happens with the left join. So let's run that. And what you'll see is, for a lot of these titles, I ordered it so that you could see the nulls. A lot of these titles don't have any inventory in the DVD rental stores. So Chinatown Gladiator, it doesn't have any inventory. It didn't find any match, so that's why we did a left join. So we can still see these titles, and we can see that we have no inventory in the stores. And then you can see things like Lion Uncut. We've got 4 copies in store 2. Cause date, we have 2 copies, etc. Now if I change this left to an inner join, what you're going to see is all those ones where there wasn't a match disappear, and we only see the ones where we have inventory in the stores and there's a record in the inventory table. And now we're going to go one step further. We want to see in those stores who's the manager of those stores. So if we go back to our tables, so we've got a store table, and that one's pretty simple. We only have 2 stores, and it's got the store ID, and then it's got a manager ID, and it's got an address ID. So we're interested in this manager ID. We want to know who the manager is. So that manager ID links to an ID column in the staff table. So in the staff table, we've got 2 people. These are the staff, the managers. So you've got Mike Hillier and John Stevens. So let's go ahead and do those joins so we can see that. So here we've modified the table a little bit. We added to the select the store ID from the inventory table, the staff first and last name from the staff table. And we've added these joins here. So since we did a left join here and we're joining off of this inventory table, we're going to continue to do a left join. So we'll continue to see these like Chinatown Gladiators where there's no inventory. If we did an inner join in any one of these films would disappear because there wouldn't be a join in both tables. So from there we do the left join to the store on inventory, the store ID from the inventory table and the store ID from the store table, and then we left join in the staff table, and we do the manager staff ID from the store table equals the staff ID from the staff table. When you run that, you can see after we get past these films that are not in inventory, you can see you have store ID 2, the manager of that is John Stevens. And if I take off this order by, then you can see also, you have store ID 1 where Mike Hillier is the manager there. All right, I hope you guys found that insightful and you learned something. Thank you very much.